Hi friends, welcome to practice. Thanks so much for joining. Today we're focusing on strengthening our glutes and our hamstrings. So we're going to be doing a sequence to pattern the activation of those areas so that we can start developing them and using them not just in our yoga practice, but also in our everyday lives. Before we get going, let me tell you how to move closer to us online. You can start right here by making sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Head over to our website at yogainyourlivingroom.com to ensure you're subscribed to our weekly letter full of amazing yoga and lifestyle resources. And of course, follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram. So when you're ready, let's get started. When you're ready, let's begin in a tabletop position. So join me on hands and knees. Layer your wrists underneath your shoulders, hips underneath the knees. Let's start to warm up the spine a little bit here. So on your inhale breath, we'll go to cow pose, tailbone lifting, heart and skull lifting, and exhale, curl and round in. Go at your own breath and movement together. Trying to work the legs evenly between the pelvis. All right, come on back through center here. We'll take a hamstring contraction, so keep your belly nice and strong. We're gonna leave our standing body the way it is, except for lift the right heel to the butt. Keep the right heel going to the butt, lift the right knee away from the floor, bring it towards parallel with the floor. From here, realign your body, flood your entire system with your attention, and then flex the right foot and begin little pulses, pressing the foot skyward towards the ceiling. Keep the front body anchored in. Keep your side waist growing evenly long, your pelvis facing down towards the ground. We'll be here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. When you're ready, stretch the leg out, ground the foot, rock a little bit forward and backward here. Come on back through center, hands and knees pose. You can always take a break for the wrists a little bit. When you're ready for side 2, keep your body totally stable and steady. Contract your left hamstring to lift your left heel towards the butt. Keep your pelvis nice and stable. Then lift the left knee off the ground. Re-flood your system with your attention. Get your side waist long, your front body activating towards the back body. Then flex through the left foot and begin your little pulses skyward. Here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten the leg, ground the foot, rock a little bit forward and backward. Good. Drop your knees down. You can give a little break to the wrists. And then coming back to tabletop position, tuck your toes. Hover your knees up off the floor an inch. And then nice and easy, press up and back, downward facing dog. Your legs don't have to be straight here. The heels don't need to go down towards the floor. Take a few nice deep breaths. You can move around a little bit. If you feel overly rounded in your upper back, do some work to try to open the front body, opening the front ribs, bending the knees might help you do that. Or if you feel like, man, like I'm really pressing my chest back towards my thighs and the front body is opening too much and the back body is caving in, do the work necessary to get the rib cage nice and open on all sides. And then the glutes, one of the most powerful muscles in the body, a deep stabilizer for the pelvis. We're going to keep our body nice and stable as all we do is lift the right heel, not changing anything in the pelvis. And then from there, lift the right foot to the hip. Good, we're just gonna go in and out of that. So lowering the right foot, then lifting the right foot. And as we go in and out of this, the point is to keep the standing body nice and stable. You might actually start to feel the work, start to target more into the left hip, the left buttocks, just to hold ourselves nice and stable. Good, when you're ready, ground that down. Let's get out of the hands a little bit. So take your time to walk your feet, or your hands rather, back to your feet for a nice standing forward bend. When you're ready, walk your hands back forward to your downward facing dog position. Press out through your fingers more than you are through your wrists. And we'll work our stabilizer muscles on this side again, using all of the muscles in the body, but particularly the standing right leg now, to anchor the pelvis in place as we lift just the left heel up off the floor. And then just the left foot to the left booty. Then drop the foot down and go in and out of that a few times. Looking to build stability here in the rest of the body. So we're just patterning that activation, our ability to be controlled. Good job. And then this time, take your time to walk your feet all the way forward to your hands. Standing forward bend, kind of same rules as downward facing dog. Don't feel like your legs need to go straight. Don't feel like your toes have to be together, especially if you're tighter in the backs of the legs. It's probably will feel nicer to have the feet wider apart. On the next inhale breath, lift out of the pelvis halfway. So belly lifting up to the spine, out through the skull. Get really super duper long here. Take some time, even almost wave-like, to lengthen out of the pelvis. Back ribs open and broad. Exhale, fold. Now ground down through your strong feet. Inhale your favorite way out and up to the sky. And exhale, slide the hands together at the chest. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, slide the hands down at the heart. Let's take the feet right underneath the hips. As you bend your knees, ensure that they both point forward. Do a little bit of a bounce so that it's setting the joints up in a sustainable fashion, because the joints have to be sustainable to accommodate this bounce. Press out through your feet and see if you can't feel all of the muscles in the legs connect as a team, unite as a team. When you're ready, slide down to a chair pose here so that the hamstrings are engaging up to the thighs, the buttocks muscles are engaging. Take a big breath in, reach the arms. And on the exhale, build fists, draw them down by your side and come back up to stand. Good, inhale, come on down, chair. Exhale, up. Inhale, chair. Exhale, up. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale as the hands go down. Soft bend into the knees so that the thighs go parallel to the floor. And we'll work very similarly to what we did in downward facing dog with a little hamstring contraction. So what would it be if this right leg stayed exactly the same? All the muscles in the back body are supporting the bones in this position. And all we do is we lift the left heel and then the left foot. And then we lower it down. And so we do this just a couple of times. And then the next time, we step it to the back of the yoga mat for a low lunge. We drop the back knee down, and we spend a few moments kind of rocking back and forth here, letting the pelvis trace exactly forward and backward so it's not pivoting open. There's a lot of range of motion of the pelvis because it's a ball and socket joint on each leg. So moving back and forth will help set it for success, where the frontal hip bones are in line with their respective knees. You can stay down here or ground into your grounding points and upright your torso. You can always take the arms to the sky. Press into the floor with the right foot. Pull your 2 frontal hip bones back as you descend into the right knee. Good. Reach your arms forward, ground them down. Tuck your back toes. Bend into your back leg, straighten out through your front leg. Look forward with your head, even with your chest. Your chest is open to the front of the mat. And then lift your left foot off the floor for a standing splits. I'm going to reach in front of me for some yoga blocks. If you have blocks around you, you can do that as well. Or if you have furniture, you can do that as well. Now, a lot of times the pelvis will like to pivot here, and you can test whether your pelvis is pivoting by noticing how long your side waists are from your pelvis to your armpit. Get those spaces long evenly on both sides of your body, and you'll see that it'll put your pelvis in such a way that it'll ensure that the back of the right leg, the right buttocks, the right hamstring is doing a lot of work. You can bow your head and your heart more down to your right leg and lift your left leg to the sky. And from here, we're going to round up to stand, hugging that left knee into the body as that happens. So strengthening all the stabilizer muscles in that right leg, and particularly that right buttock. We want that right buttock to really hold the pelvis in position here for us as well. So get the pelvis evenly between your 2 side waists. It might kind of torque. The left side might kind of hike up towards the left armpit. And then because you have the left leg bone in front of the body, ensure that you're not leaning back as a counterbalance. Instead, you're muscularly supporting this with your belly button going back, your shoulders over your hips, and your skull over your shoulders. Okay, let's take the hands either at the heart or at the hips, whatever feels good for you. We'll move this towards a warrior 3. So we're pivoting forward. Pelvis is coming towards a tabletop position, kind of like what we did earlier. Belly button lifting up and out, side waist long, and you can extend that left leg long behind you. Now see if you can take a few squats in that right leg, bending, straightening, and keep all the while keeping the lifted leg nice and stable. Good. Soften the hands down to the floor. Keep your left leg lifted. I feel a deep burn in that right buttock. I don't know about you. But then we'll take a few hamstring curls here. So bend into your left knee, heel to booty. Woo! And then exhale, lengthen it out. Inhale, knee to booty. Exhale, lengthen. Last one. Lengthen. And release that left foot down by the right foot. Take them hip width distance apart, heels in, toes out. Go down for a squat. If your heels start to lift here, you can always roll up a blanket, put it underneath it, put a block underneath your bottom. And just something here to release and relax. Soft jaw, soft face. Okay, let's set ourselves up for side 2. So come on up to a standing forward fold here. Nice and easy does it. Okay, bend into both knees so that the thighs are towards parallel to the ground. Keep everything nice and stable. Lift the right heel, lift the right foot to the butt, And we'll do this a few times. So lower and lift and lower and lift and stretch back. Ground the foot, ground the right knee. A little low lunge action here. Going in and out of the pose to set the frontal hip bones in line with their respective knees. So we're building the proper patterning in our body. Okay, come on forward to your low lunge. Stay here or upright your torso. Take some time here. You can feel your hips even with your hands. Sometimes that will help us develop that proprioception of like where our body is in space. And arms can always lift to the sky. Good. Come on forward with the hands. Tuck your back toes under. Bend into your back leg, straighten out through the front leg. Stable pelvis here. Look forward with your head, look forward with your heart, and then launch your right leg up, hands down to the floor, to blocks, to furniture, where we approach our standing splits. And the first thing to do in standing splits is to orient the pelvis so it's not pivoting, so that the side waists are evenly long, the low back is nice and flat. That'll ensure that the work of the standing leg is exactly right, through the calf, through the hamstring, through the buttocks. You can even walk your hands back towards your foot, deepening the forward fold. That'll trigger more sensation. Stick the balance if you can, round up to stand, hugging the right knee in. And again, evening out the pelvis between the two legs, between the two armpits. Using the buttocks muscles of the standing leg to support the pelvis. Growing long through the torso. Taking your hands together at the heart or on your hips, we'll begin to pivot the pelvis forward now, so it's in a tabletop position towards our warrior three. Front pelvis in, side waist grow evenly long, lengthening out through the right leg. Holding everything in position here, except for taking 3 little micro squats in the standing leg. 1, 2, 3. Okay, coming back to the standing splits. Bend into your right leg, a little hamstring curl. 1. Bend into your right leg again. 2. And 3. Last one. Good job. Bring that right foot right by the left foot. Standing forward fold. Okay, from here, soften down to the floor. Come on down to your back. I'll actually take one of these blocks with me so that I can take a supported bridge pose for Shavasana later. And then that's where we'll go next. So arms down by the side, step the feet in close to the pelvis. We want the buttocks to be really supportive of our back bend postures. Not supportive in the way where the butt squeezes in, like the butt cheeks are clenching towards each other. Because if you do that, if you clench your butt cheeks toward each other, notice that your knees splay wide. And what that does is it contracts the low back and it makes it really short and compressed. So that's not what we want. Instead, We want the buttocks muscles to contract into the pelvis to help lift it. We want the buttocks muscles to flow towards the backs of the knees. So it's like the hamstrings and the buttocks together are squeezing toward each other. Let's try. Press your feet down into the floor. Keep your buttocks flowing to the backs of the knees. And through the press of the feet, begin to lift the hips. Keep the front ribs in. It's not a rib show here. And continue lifting the hips from the feet, pressing down. Drag your knees forward, which will get you more space in the low back. Keep the buttocks flowing to the backs of the knees. You can walk your shoulders underneath your body. Relax your front ribs into your body. Press into your feet. Use your backs of the legs to lift the hips. Good. Lower the hips back down to the floor. Oh, this is nice. Grab your hands overhead, and a few windshield wipers of the knees back and forth might feel nice. If you want to land and linger in a twist, you can do that, taking the knees over to one side. And over to the other. And then soles of the feet together, knees butterfly open. Soften the eyes to close. Keep the tailbone and the buttocks flowing to the backs of the heels here so that the front pelvis can open, not necessarily the low back. Now you can choose to rest here. You can choose to rest in a traditional resting posture, just, legs along, arms by your side. Or I'll actually take a supported bridge pose with my block. So if you have a yoga block or really just any household object that can bear your weight and give your hips some lift, then you'll press down through the feet, lift the hips in the same fashion that we just did. And then place the block underneath the hip, underneath the sacrum at any one of its three heights. And the sacrum is right above the butt crack. Keep the buttocks flowing towards the backs of the knees here. So we're taking advantage of the strength and activation that we just generated. Soften the eyes to close. If your hips are lifted, you can pick your feet up off the ground one at a time and draw your knees into your belly with your hips lifted. You can also do that if your hips are flat on the ground. And if you want, you can lift your legs skyward for a little legs up the wall, up an imaginary wall. And softly pulling the knees into the chest If you're flat on your back, you can roll around a little bit there. If your hips are lifted, then lower the legs one at a time. Hover the hips up off the ground to remove your block out to the side. Stretch your arms and your legs. And in your own time, let's roll over to one side. Press into the floor with whatever hand you have available. Come on up to a comfortable seat. You can have your hands on your lap, on your body someplace, or at your heart, whatever feels nice for you. We'll just take a few moments of sitting quietly. Thank you so much for joining in today's glute and hamstring practice. I hope you feel stronger after this, more activated, and just like you have more substance in that part of your body that you can utilize now for all the different tasks in your day. Thanks again for joining, and I'll see you right back here next week for a brand new home practice. Have a great day.